Hello friends, today we're going to talk about a warrior queen. One you've probably never heard of, but trust me, her story of courage is one that absolutely shaped the course of Indian history. Seriously, have you? 300 years before the 1857 mutiny we all learn about in school? That's a long time ago. Way before the famous names we usually hear, a queen on India's southern coast was already fighting back against a massive empire. So let's get right into her incredible story. So this is the story of a queen history pretty much forgot. We're going to uncover the story of Rani Abbakka. You know, everyone knows about the amazing Rani of Jhansi, right? Well, picture this. More than 300 years before her, back in the 1500s, Abbakka was already on the front lines, defending her home. This makes her one of the very first, and I mean very first, freedom fighters to stand up to European powers in India. Pretty amazing. Okay, so to really get why her fight was so important, we have to travel back in time and see what her world looked like. What was her kingdom and what was she fighting for? Here we are. Rani Abbakka was the queen of this small coastal kingdom called Ullal. It's in a region that was known as Tulu Nadu, which is in modern-day Karnataka. Now look at where it is, right on the Arabian Sea. That location was everything. It wasn't just a pretty coastline. It was a super important hub for the spice trade, which was basically the oil of its day, incredibly valuable. And you know who wanted a piece of that spice trade action? Yup, the Portuguese. Back in the 1500s, these guys were a global superpower, and their main goal in India was simple: take over all the coastal ports, control the entire spice trade, and get rich. And guess what? Little Ullal was standing right in their way. So who exactly was this woman standing up to an empire? Well, Abbakka wasn't your typical queen. She was a total leader. From the time she was young, she trained in warfare. We're talking archery, sword fighting, the whole deal. She was a Jain queen, but her kingdom was super diverse, a real melting pot. And get this, she didn't just sit around on a throne. Nope, she was famous for dressing simply and working late into the night, making sure justice was served for her people herself. And here's a little did you know for you. One of her biggest strengths was how she brought everyone together. Her army wasn't just from one group or religion. She had Hindus, Muslims, and the Mogaveras, an amazing local fishing community, all fighting side by side. That unity, that was her secret weapon. So you've got this massive empire knocking at the door, and a queen who's absolutely not going to back down. A fight was bound to happen. The battle for freedom was starting. And look, this wasn't just a single battle. We're talking about decades of defiance. It all kicks off around 1525 when the Portuguese attack a nearby port. Abbakka sees what's coming and starts getting ready. Fast forward to 1555, she flat out refuses to pay them any money and actually beats their admiral in a fight. She pushes them back again in 1567, but 1568, wow. The Portuguese actually managed to take her capital. But did she give up? No way. She leads this crazy, daring night raid with only 200 soldiers, takes back her city, and gets the Portuguese general. Incredible. So, you're probably wondering, how did a queen of a tiny kingdom pull all this off? Simple. She was a genius strategist. First, she was smart enough to know she couldn't do it alone. She made alliances with other big-time Indian rulers. Second, she was a master of naval and guerrilla warfare, using hit-and-run tactics and her army's knowledge of the local area. And like we said, she was amazing at uniting all her people to fight for one thing: their home. Okay, time for another did you know moment, and this one is awesome. One of her most famous battle tactics? Flaming coconuts. I'm not kidding. Her soldiers would light dry coconuts on fire and use them as fiery arrows called foot to attack the Portuguese ships in the dark. Can you just imagine that? A sky full of flaming coconuts coming at you? That's just brilliant. So for decades, Rani Abbakka was this unstoppable force. But sadly, her biggest threat wasn't going to be a foreign army. It was going to be a betrayal from someone she knew. Just look at this. On one side, she had all these powerful allies and her super loyal army. But on the other, the worst kind of betrayal. Her own husband, who she was separated from, went over to the Portuguese side. He knew everything. Her plans, her secrets, and he told them everything. Because of that betrayal, Abbakka was finally captured and put in jail. But if you think that's where her story ends, you're wrong. A warrior to the very end, she started a revolt inside the prison. She died the same way she lived, as a soldier, fighting. Her fight might have ended, but her story of courage that lives on, her legacy is all about that unbreakable spirit, and it's something we can all learn from today. And her story is still making waves. Even now, we have historical drawings that tell us her story. But check this out. Her legacy is also being officially recognized today. This is a real postal stamp issued just recently, making sure her bravery is never ever forgotten. And it's not just the stamp either. Her name is everywhere. The Indian Coast Guard literally has a ship named after her, the ICGS Rani Abbakka. There's an award given out every year to amazing women in her name. And of course, there are statues built, so we can always remember her. When you really think about it, her story tells us something so important. It's a powerful reminder that real courage and leadership can come from anywhere. You don't have to be a big shot ruler of a massive empire to make a huge difference. Her story inspires all of us to stand up for what we believe is right. So, I'll leave you with a few things to chew on. What leadership qualities really made her so successful? Why do you think it's so important that we learn about these forgotten heroes from our past? And how exactly did she turn the size and location of her kingdom into a strength? Rani Abbakka's life is just an incredible testament to what a fearless leader can achieve.